we were planning to. It was more moving from like using the leftover from the HSI, like from the auctions and staking that. We kind of moved from that to making it more of a just a prominent part of the overall strategy, just with how, because the feedback we were getting was like, I like what's better, staking my Hedron or minting Poly, and now as like an introduction and bringing it as more of a focus, you can kind of have the best of both worlds now. So, percentage wise, like there will be a set budget for, auction as well as staking out the gate. And then once the like bid phase is over, the leftover Hedron is still going to be added to that stake. But by staking the Hedron before the auctions, we'll be able to kind of tap the yield from the actual auction that's going on. So it's kind of like a self-pumpamental in a way, because we're going to be driving a lot of Hedron into this auction, and then also having a Hedron stake to kind of pump that as well. So it's kind of a cool play there.
And you guys are talking about ratios right now, right? Like, are we going to do like 50% goes into the staking, the other 50% will set aside for auctions, or where's that conversation going right now?
Yeah, it's everyone's got a different opinion, and it's just hard to calculate. I'm trying to figure out like really long term. Like I definitely have a much better understanding of Hex and what that looks like long term, as far as like the variables that go into determining like the daily T-share payout. Whereas with Hedron, it's a little harder to like know what that future yield is going to look like. And so, when you're trying to compare like what's best, I don't know. I think it's going to come down to like analyzing the HSIs up for auction, and then, kind of trying to fill a budget where we have enough buying power to get the ones we want, while still balancing the yield from the Hedron stake. So there's not really a right answer, but we're definitely in communication with the community and seeing what people want to do, because that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, and the sweet part is like, if you do set aside a large budget for those HSIs and you don't fill that budget, you can still add to the stake that you already started, right? So
exactly,
because I mean the minimum stake of 360 is nothing compared to your guys' timeline. So I think it'll work out either way. I like the way Dipcatcher was phrasing that last night. Makes sense.
There's back to the point of the executor. I did want to make it clear, the executor doesn't have access to funds at all. There's no admin keys there. Really, it only has one sole function, which is basically push the bid button and execute on those bids. We were definitely looking at like a voting model, but it's just, with all these auctions going on at one time, the efficiency to like try to execute a strategy with a community voting system, it just really, like, we really were trying to push that. But basically what we're going to have is what we're calling like the recommendation box, which will allow people to submit their recommendations, their insights, their inputs on a strategy. And this will be ongoing while the auction's going on. And, that will go to the executor. And at the end of the day, the executor will execute on the best it can. But yeah, it's like, there's a lot of unknowns in this too, like how competitive these auctions are going to be, and then also trying to just calculate the correct value to try to, because there's really only two risks here, right? Like overpaying for a stake or not winning a stake, right? And those are shared with everyone who's participating in these auctions. But good news with Poly is, like, again, the Hedron, like if we don't win, the Hedron will just be staked, and it'll just grow the Hedron pool and increase that yield. So it's kind of a win-win, but there's still, risk, if you would call it that.